Some wrestling matches are remembered forever because of their perfect finishes, the shocking twist, the heroic comeback, the deafening crowd pop as the referee's hand hits the mat for the third time. These are the moments that live in highlight reels and hype packages, the climactic payoffs that define careers. But wrestling's also a live performance, and with that comes risk. One tiny misstep, one miscue, a mistimed kick out, or a rogue shoulder off the mat can turn magic into mayhem. Only takes one blooper to turn an all-time classic into a YouTube comment section punchline. I'm Senor Siete for 7 Wrestling. Let's take a look at 7 big matches where they screwed up the ending. Now, before we get into this, we appreciate your support, so if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and insane elbow that notification bell. Number 1. Royal Stumble. WrestleMania 2000 was supposed to be the moment the stars aligned. The Rock, Triple H, 2 generational icons on a collision course for the main event spotlight. It was obvious, it was inevitable, it was destiny. And the road to that destiny ran straight through the Royal Rumble. The Rock was the heavy favorite going in. Betting against him in 2000 was like betting against the Harlem Globetrotters. It wasn't a question of if he'd win, it was how cool he would look while he was doing it. And for a bit, everything was going according to plan. Then came the final moments. The Big Show tried to eliminate The Rock. The Rock reversed it, and boom, he tossed Show over the top and stood tall as the crowd exploded. Picture perfect. Except it wasn't. Because when the replays rolled, something weird happened, something undeniable. Both of The Rock's feet clearly touched the floor before the Big Show. Not in a squinting you'll see it kind of way. No, we're talking full heel-to-floor contact, caught in glorious turn-of-the-millennium video quality, kind of mistake that would have had Gorilla Monsoon calling for a ruling from President Jack Tunney. But the WWE, nah, they just went la la la, not listening, and moved right along. Rock wins, that's the story. Don't let pesky things like facts get in the way of the narrative, pal. To be fair, Big Show did use this as storyline fodder later, but by then the train had left the station. WrestleMania 2000 became a 4-way cluster with the McMahons in every corner, and that one moment of floor contact became a bit of fun trivia for fans who enjoy slow motion justice. So yeah, The Rock was destined to headline WrestleMania. Just turns out Destiny might have needed a little assist from selective camera angles and a referee with poor peripheral vision. Number 2. Boom Dropped. The exploding barbed wire death match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley was never going to be subtle. This wasn't sports entertainment. This was ultra violence with a budget, blood, barbed wire, and high stakes chaos. And for most of the match, it totally ruled. Kenny Omega brought his A game. Moxley brought every weapon that wasn't nailed down. The ring was rigged with explosives. The ropes were wrapped in barbed wire, and Tony Khan was probably wrapped in legal waivers. It was gruesome. It was gripping. It was glorious. And then the countdown started. This was it, the grand finale. The ring was about to go full Mission Impossible, and just when you thought Moxley was gonna bite it in a puff of legend, out came Eddie Kingston, his best frenemy, diving over him like he was jumping on a grenade. This was drama, this was cinema, this was Shakespeare with C4, and then, a couple sparklers went off, a light fog machine coughed, and that was it. Explosion looked like something you'd find in the clearance bin of a 4th of July stand. Eddie Kingston sold it like he just survived Alderaan, while the rest of us just sat there wondering if we were watching the rough cut or maybe a dress rehearsal. All that storytelling, the tension, the perfect build obliterated by the pyro budget of a middle school pep rally. To their credit, Moxley immediately got on the mic after the show and buried the botch with a line that was half truth, half cover up. He said Kenny Omega may be a tough son of a bitch, but he can't make an exploding ring worth a shit. Well, it's not wrong. Number 3, collateral damage. Oh man, I apologize for that header, collateral, oof. Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, the kings of the ladder match, WrestleMania 10, an instant classic, career-defining, so naturally, when WWE booked the rematch for SummerSlam 95, the goal was clear, do it again, but bigger and better. More drama, more stunts, more baby oil, and to their credit, they almost pulled it off. For most of the match, they were delivering the goods. Razor was all swagger and grit. Shawn was flipping and flying like a man with negative regard for his tailbone. But then came the finish. Shawn and Razor both climbed a ladder, reached for the Intercontinental title, and Michaels hit the bad guy with sweet chin music. Belt was hanging right there, the prize, the payoff, the thing they were both bleeding and sweating for, and Shawn just was out of position. He leapt for it and came up short. So they improvised. Michaels would backdrop Ramon out of the ring, then go for the belt again, and miss the belt again. This would lead to Shawn having a full-on meltdown, which was a thing he liked to do at SummerSlam apparently. To make it worse, Razor just had to lie there awkwardly, selling for way too long while HBK fought the real final boss, that being belt latch mechanics. Eventually, Shawn did get the title down and win the match, but by that point, the crowd had gone from oh to should we help him? So yeah, Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon almost topped the WrestleMania Classic, but instead of a triumphant exclamation point, they ended with a ladder match equivalent of your Wi-Fi cutting out during the final boss fight. Great match, lousy dismount. Number 4, quitting time. WrestleMania 11, a show so weird that Salt and Peppa serenading Lawrence Taylor in the main event was one of the show's highlights, and that's not a knock on Salt and Peppa, they are awesome. But lost somewhere between the celebrity appearances and the questionable booking decisions was an I Quit match between Bret the Hitman Hart and Bob Backlund. Now, say what you will about the 90s, but I Quit matches had a very simple premise. Two people beat the hell out of each other until one of them physically, verbally, and undeniably has to say the words, I quit. That's it. That's the gimmick. The match literally can't end unless that happens. Now, in this match's climax, Bret locks in the crossface chicken wing, Backlund flails, Roddy Piper, who was a special guest referee, starts screaming in Bob's face with all the subtlety of a megaphone at a funeral. Then he just calls for the bell. Why? I don't know. Did Backlund say I quit? Not audibly, not on camera, not in Morse code. He kind of mumbled something, maybe, possibly like saying Piper screamed, he said I quit. Like he's trying to gaslight the audience into believing we all heard it, but nobody did. Not the crowd, not commentary, not even Bob Backlund, who looked genuinely confused as if he'd just woken up from a nap and found out he lost a match he didn't even remember entering. Just like that, it was over. No dramatic I quit, no emotional climax, so yeah, the match where someone has to say I quit ended with nobody saying I quit. So what went wrong? In his book, Hitman, My Real Life and the Cartoon World of Wrestling, Bret would say, Bob would find out like I had that the hold hurt like hell. So bad that as Roddy held the mic in Bob's face and asked, do you give? Bob could only manage to scream yes. Bob was specifically supposed to say, I quit, but with the painful hold cutting off his air, Roddy had no choice but to ring the bell and declare me the winner. This was, without a doubt, my worst pay-per-view match ever. Worst pay-per-view match so far. But hey, at least Salt and Peppa had fun. Number 5, Who's Your Daddy? Oh yeah, the infamous custody of Dominic Mysterio feud when WWE decided that the best way to resolve a deeply personal, emotionally charged family drama was with a ladder match, because when you're fighting for a child's legal guardianship, nothing says responsible parenting like retrieving legal documents from 15 feet in the air while surrounded by folding chairs. Now, Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, two of the best to ever do it, were dragged into a storyline that felt like a deleted scene from a daytime soap opera that Vince thought was just too real not to use. Whole saga included surprise paternity revelations, intense promos, and poor little Dominic sitting ringside, looking like he wished someone would just enroll him in boarding school already. But the cherry on top of this overcooked drama Sunday came at SummerSlam 2005. It was actually shaping up to be a pretty solid match. Brutal, emotional, high stakes, until the ending hit a snag. Vicky Guerrero, Eddie's wife, was supposed to run in at the climax and stop Eddie from winning. But Vicky missed her cue, like really badly. Eddie climbed the ladder, reached for the briefcase, and waited, and waited, and waited, long enough to file new paperwork and relitigate the case. And when Ray finally bounced him off the ladder, Eddie did not take it well, audibly screaming, "Where the f*** was Vicky?" By the time Vicky finally did run in, the timing was completely off. So yeah, WWE once booked a ladder match for a child's custody, and it ended with a botched interference, awkward stalling, and one of the weirdest rewrites in live match history. And personally, I've always wondered if participating in a storyline like this could mess with a kid's head, but I wouldn't worry about it. I'm sure he grew up to be a fine, upstanding citizen. Number 6. Royally Screwed. Jade Cargill's WWE run has been a masterclass in the slow burn glow up. When she first showed up, she looked like $1,000,000, talked like a Bond villain, and wrestled like someone who was still trying to figure out the controls. But hey, charisma goes a long way, and WWE knew what they had, so they did something rare. They just let her cook. Week by week, month by month, Cargill went from she's clearly green to okay, she's getting it to wait, when did Jade Cargill become decent? And by the time the 2025 Queen of the Ring rolled around, she was doing pretty well. Presence, poise, and even a little bit of psychology. It was like watching a final boss evolve mid-game. Then came the cherry on top, pinning the legendary Asuka to win it all. A huge milestone, a career-defining moment. But then everyone noticed a tiny detail. During the finish, in all of her excitement to cover Asuka, Jade accidentally lifted Asuka's shoulder off the mat. Oopsie. To be clear, Asuka was supposed to lose, that was the plan, but thanks to some overzealous body language, technically wasn't a legal pin. In the court of kayfabe law, the match should have continued. But WWE didn't flinch. The ref counted 3, the music hit, and Twitter had a brand new actually moment to obsess over. Jade smiled through the flub, crown and all, like she hadn't just turned the ending into a minor blooper reel. Long live the Queen, just don't check the replay. Ah well, she's a rookie. It's not like, 2 seasoned veterans would ever screw up the pin during the end of a huge turn at number 7, Royally Screwed Part 2. The 2024 King of the Ring finals had everything you could want in a marquee matchup. Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in WWE history, versus Randy Orton, the human embodiment of smooth criminal energy and surgically precise drop kicks. The match was hard-hitting, dramatic, and felt like an actual big deal, which is saying something considering how many King of the Ring tournaments in the last decade have felt like glorified trivia answers. Then came the finish. The ring general rolls up the Viper, and 1, 2, 3, wait, Randy's shoulder is clearly off the mat. Not like a, maybe kind of way. No, like a, this is absolutely not a pinfall kind of way. Ref counts 3 anyway. Gunther's music hits. Suddenly, the King of the Ring tournament ends with the energy of a group project presentation where someone forgot to add the final slide. To be fair, the rest of the match totally ruled, and Gunther deserves his flowers. He's a destroyer in a throwback wrestler's body, and he made European efficiency feel like a viable wrestling style, but man, talk about a wet fart finish to the match. Dude's shoulder was practically waving at the camera like, hey, just so you know, I'm not being pinned. They would use this as a callback later to get to a rematch, so congrats to Gunther, your 2024 King of the Ring. He crushed it, except for the whole, convincing victory part. Well, there's our list, and I leave out any other big matches that had botched endings or so. Please leave them in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please do us a solid and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and RKO that notification bell. Until next time, I'm Seven McCall. Shoot, I can't believe I screwed up the ending. I'm Senior Siete for 7 Wrestling saying bye-bye.